Chapter 18. "I'll come in with you when you interview Janet," Becky said as they drove towards her house.
"I'm not sure you're supposed to be working this case anymore, Becky. Not in the field at any rate."
Richard had filled her in on the morning's team briefing.
"Boss wants you in the office from now on, collating info and following up leads on the phone."
"Great," snapped Becky. "I'm still coming to Janet's, though. She had a right to know what's been going on. Police all over the place, and then you turning up to give her the 3rd degree. And as for Elliot being interviewed by the DI, that was just ridiculous."
"I think she intended it to be a friendly chat," said Richard. "I'm not sure she's getting the thumbscrews out just yet."
Richard indicated as they turned into Becky's road. "Elliot wouldn't even kill a spider. He hasn't got a bad bone in his body, Richard," Becky sighed. "Anyway, have there been any other leads? Has the DNA shown anything? And what about the missing men?"
"No new leads and no results yet from the DNA. We're still waiting for the results of the blood we found in the wood. I'm going to interview the CPN at the psychiatric unit tomorrow. Well, if nothing else gets in the way."
Richard pulled up outside Becky's house.
"I'll come in with you, just to be on the safe side. Although I doubt even a lunatic will have tried to get in since you called the boss last night."
Part of Becky wanted to say that she didn't need him to actually go inside with her, but she did. She needed that reassurance that nobody had been in and there was nobody there now. The new key was stiff in the lock. Inside, the place didn't look as bad as Becky had thought it would, just untidy and dusty. The mirror was missing, and it didn't feel like her home anymore. Suddenly, she realised how it must be for victims of burglary, never feeling safe in their home, the one place where you should be able to shut your door and feel in control. "I'll just pop upstairs and pack a bag. Won't be long." She meant that. She didn't want to stay in this house any longer than she had to. 20 minutes later, she was sitting in Janet's kitchen with Richard, drinking tea. Janet was a middle-aged single woman who worked as a theatre manager at the local private hospital. Becky didn't know her that well, but she was the sort of person you could chat to over the garden fence, who would take parcels in for you and feed your cat when you were away on holiday. If you had a cat, that is. Becky had given Janet a spare set of keys after she'd locked herself out twice following the breakup, having grown used to Elliot nearly always being at home before her. "So someone broke in? Did they take much?" Janet asked as they drank their tea. "Not exactly, Janet," said Becky. "Whoever it was let themselves in with a key."
"Which is why we're here," Richard put in for good measure.
"And how did they get the key? Have you lost a set or something?" Janet looked perplexed. "No, we don't know. You still have mine, I take it?" "Of course." Janet got up and went into the kitchen, returning with the keys that Becky had given her. Richard took out his notebook.
"And no one could have borrowed them without your knowledge, Miss
Woods, and the answer to your question is no. No one could have taken them without my knowledge. They're in the key cupboard next to mine, and as I get mine out and put my keys away at least twice a day, I would have noticed if they'd gone, because they're the only other set in there."
"Have you had anyone in doing work recently?" inquired Richard.
"No, the last time I had workmen in was before Becky gave me her keys. I had my bathroom replaced, but that was over a year ago."
"No gardener, no one to read the gas meter? Have you seen any strangers about, people acting suspiciously? Any cars parked that you don't recognise?" Richard fired questions at her.
"I do my own gardening and my meters are in boxes outside the house," Janet snapped. "And no, I've not seen nothing strange." "I'm really sorry, Janet," said Becky. "It's just, well, my visitor might be linked to a more serious crime we're investigating."
"It's fine, Becky, I understand. More tea?"
"No, thank you. We need to get on. I'll take the keys if I may, Janet. They won't work now anyway. The locks have been changed. Becky put them carefully into an evidence bag. And if you think of anything else, call me. You've got my mobile number, haven't you?
Or on this number. Richard presented her with his card. Thank you for your time, Miss Woods.
When will you be back home, Becky? Janet asked as she saw them out. Oh, in a few days, I think. Text me when you get back and I'll put the kettle on. I'm always here. Oh, except when I'm working, of course. Thanks, Janet. Becky smiled as she left her neighbour standing at the door. You must be joking, she thought to herself. Hell will freeze over before I live there again. Wen read the report from Jeff that had just landed in her inbox. It didn't tell her anything she hadn't expected, but she would read it to the team later. Then they could pick out all the information and look at it from a multidisciplinary viewpoint. But first she needed to inform Jeff of the latest development. It might alter his perception of the profile she now had. She dialed his number and he answered on the third ring. Jeff Morgan. Hello, Jeff, it's... Why, hello, Wen, how nice to hear from you. I take it you received my report. What do you think? More or less what I was expecting, but it's better when it comes from me. People will take more notice. I suppose so, but that's not what I was going to say. There's been an incident, and I thought you should know. Cassie knocked at the address she'd been given for Tori Kendrick. It was a flat in a very pleasant part of town, but then Cassie expected an estate agent to live somewhere nice, just as you expected hairdressers to always have perfect hair and doctors never to be ill. After the second knock, the door opened a few inches, and a small, blonde-haired woman looked at her, obviously just awoken from sleep. What? Tori Kendrick was about 5'3", slim, and had a cropped haircut, which emphasised her elfin face. She was dressed in pyjamas and had makeup streaked down her face. Looking about 18, but probably nearer 25, Tori was in a state of extreme distress. Sorry to disturb you, Miss Kendrick. I'm Detective Sergeant Roden from Cheshire Serious Crime Squad. Cassie produced her ID. Could I have a word, please? The colour drained away from the woman's face, and she opened the door a little more. Oh, God, what's happened? Has there been an accident? Please don't get anxious. No one has had an accident. I just need a quick word concerning your place of employment. Oh, thank God for that. She stood back and opened the door to allow Cassie in. Sorry, the place is a bit of a mess. She looked in the hall mirror. That goes for me as well. The flat was indeed a mess. Clothes and boots were scattered around. A broken glass glinted in the sunshine that trickled through the kitchen area, and 2 empty wine bottles stood on the coffee table, evidence of the state of the woman standing in front of Cassie. Have I called at a bad time? She asked. You could say that. I got rid of my cheating, lying bastard of a boyfriend last night. Mind you, he treated this place like a hotel. Still had his own house to run to and hide. Oh, indeed. Please sit down if you can find a place, that is. Cassie moved some clothes from a chair and realised as she did that they were cut into ribbons. That's what's left of his Armani suit. He actually cried when I did that. Not seeing me in a state of hysteria. No. All I got then was, you'll get over me. I'm doing you a favour. You deserve better. He's right, though. I do deserve better than him. Tori flopped down on a settee opposite to Cassie. I'm sorry. You don't need to hear my problems. How can I help? Cassie went over the same questions with Tori as she had with Tori's boss. Did you let anyone have access to the keys? Could you have left the safe open when someone might have gone into the back office? No, I've had nothing to do with that property, and no one has had a chance to get the keys. Except what? A surveyor was going to look at it for a couple who were interested, but the vendors turned down their offer, and it never happened.
But someone did have the keys.
They did, but only for a few hours in the end. The couple were jumping the gun, got a bit carried away, I think.
Who was the surveyor?
David Lowry, she spat. The man I've just kicked out.